But I think that's okay. Like, do you
I was
you
just
go
gonna
through
say
life with
that's
a
good.
level of skepticism?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually described myself yesterday that my role in the world
Recent.
is to be a cynic. Yeah, that's
That's so funny because
I was
literally
prescribed
today,
that, and I looked up to
yeah,
the sky and said that's what I was prescribed.
literally
Yeah.
today, I was talking about one of the Drake song leaks. I don't know if the one with Roddy Ricch, I forgot what it's called, but I was like, kind of shit, right? And I was like, just kind of giving all of these negatives to it, and I was like, am I a hater? And the other person was like, yeah, probably. And I was just like, you know what, I'll take it. Fuck it, that's just my role. I'll take it because you need skeptics, man. Or what's the importance you put on skepticism? Why do you do that
Oh,
for yourself?
that's a good question.
Mm.
I guess the first thing that came to my mind was so not to be disappointed, whether it's in people or things or expectations.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if we're talking about being cynical towards things and like, because I feel like I don't know what the opposite of that is. What's
Opposite of cynical?
Yeah,
just blind faith, I suppose.
Okay,
Just
yeah. Well,
taking it as
I think
you hear it.
that's having like probably extraordinary expectations about things and about people as well, and setting yourself up for potential disappointment and sadness as well. And so I just feel like it's because for me it's a like not trusting of others.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a defense mechanism in a sense.
It's definitely a defense mechanism.
I feel that as well. I think I use it for that the same way as well. And it's funny you say that because I do think it stems from not wanting to be let down or not wanting to be misled, right? Like just wanting to feel like you're telling me the truth.
Yeah, I was just going to say wanting to know it's true.
Because I always feel like I can get somewhere with somebody if you tell me the truth. Even if that somewhere is, all right, we don't need to be communicating, right? Then that's fine. We got somewhere. And I'd rather get there than we don't know. But yeah, I just want to know the truth is what's happening. And then I feel like that's when I can make a true judgment. Like if you're not giving me the truth, I don't feel like I can make the truest judgment. And then, I mean, that makes me feel bad when I make a judgment on something I've been misled by, right? And so I think it's definitely that coping defense mechanism kind of shit. And especially in this political realm where you're constantly misled by and let down by your political leaders. And that's a shame on all levels, right? And obviously some are better than others, but that is definitely a shame. So I don't know. I think healthy skepticism is definitely... But then what's healthy? Like, what do you find is a healthy skepticism? Where do you draw the line, if you draw one?
I don't know if I draw
There's
one.
no line?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I must.
Yeah. Like, what is there...
Yeah.
What amount of, I don't know, evidence or proof or how much do you need to see in terms of consistency from somebody to stop questioning the trueness of the motives?
I don't know how somebody answers.
Yeah, I don't know
how to answer a question like that. Because
Yeah.
is that a are you looking for a number? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just like a general estimate of time, but it might not even be time. Yeah, because I also don't think it's kind of a combination of both, right? Like I kind of need to know you or have seen your actions for a certain amount of time, and then within that amount of time, I need to have seen a certain amount of actions, right? So it is hard to kind of judge, but politicians definitely haven't done a good job of making me feel confident in that fact.
And I feel like the common rhetoric following the debates, each of them, is that there's nothing that changed. Every character acted as was expected, and the polls reflect the same thing that it was prior.
That's what I was talking to somebody this morning about it, and I was like, what is the point of the debates? Because there was nothing new said, and there weren't new insights said on the same thing. So I'm like, what is the actual point? Like, have people not heard these positions beforehand, and is that why we need it? Okay, maybe I understand. Because just to me, and I'm not the most politically involved guy. Like, I'm pretty tangentially involved, right? And like through this podcast has been the motivations to get more. So it's like it's not that intense, but everything. Like Kamala Harris said everything I expected her to say. Mike Pence said everything I expected him to say in the vice presidential debate last night. And especially off the back of the Trump and Biden one, it kind of went the way I expected it to, which was going to be a lot calmer, like purposefully. There was going to be more. I thought the host or what are they called? Moderator did a great job. I forgot her name, but I think Susan something. Yeah. But I thought she did a great job. The format and re-emphasizing that, uninterrupted 2 minutes, right? Or uninterrupted, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, you hear it the first time, it's like, Jesus. But then it actually works. Like, then you actually get to hear them speak. But then that now shows the even greater problem of the debate, which I think goes beyond the skeptical aspect, which James and I spoke about. James isn't here, by the way.
Oh,
We completely forgot about that. Which, if you're watching the YouTube or this clip, however this video comes out, it's a weird angle, but that's
we're
what
making
happens.
It work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what happens when we're down one, James. but yeah. So James and I were talking in the last one how the debates being a spectacle was kind of an issue because it's kind of supposed to be boring. Like, policy talk is supposed to be boring. It's not a fun thing. Policy sucks, dude. Like, and this comes from it being part of my major. Writing policy, learning about policy, reading it fucking sucks. Talking about it is so boring, but it's absolutely essential to constructing a country and running a country. You know what I'm saying? So it's like whenever the, not to stay on this point, because like I said, we spoke about it, but the spectacle part is thrown in. I think that is a problem. But now this is further exposed because it wasn't as much as a spectacle, even though Twitter tried, but we can get in that in a sec. It wasn't as much of a spectacle, but it revealed that I still didn't get much substance. Even beyond spectacle, there wasn't really substance here. At least the last one you could say, oh, they kept interrupting each other so they couldn't get to their real points, and that's why. Well, that didn't happen in this vice presidential one. And the questions I actually thought were better than in the presidential one, like more specific and more like pointed, and you could get a real answer out of. And still, there wasn't that much. And I'm not watching it. I'm not a person, like I said, who's fervent for either side. So I'm not watching it being like, all right, you go Kamala. All right, you go Pence. I'm just trying to watch it as an observer. I'm trying to see, okay, what's going on? I have my leanings, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to see what would happen here. And just largely unimpressed, I would say, which is a damn shame that seems to be the consistent theme. Even back in the last election, I was just like, largely unimpressed by everything that's going on. Which, I don't know, I feel like we should be a little more impressed by our leaders.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. Jesus.
At least a little bit.
So.
The standard set right now isn't that great.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the ones in office. I'm talking about the ones that are still running, that are still going against them. All of the candidates, and except for Bernie, he's the only one that's like has substance to me or was impressive in the lead up, even though I did like other people. But it's like, I don't know. It just seems this whole election season cycle, all this bullshit, is not set up to actually give us the best result. Us, like you and me, the people. I really don't feel like it's set that way.
Even because it's also weird because these candidates serve this faceless, unified mass of a party between like the Democrats and the Republicans. Like, between the like the Democrats nominate who is to be like it was Hillary, she was the one who was chosen, and then Trump is the one who's chosen again. I mean, there's obviously electing that's involved in it, but it's propelled by the parties themselves, and that's why they have those
well, even that part
rallies.
Like is where it gets fucked up in that primaries, like choosing the candidate part, because the Democrats have superdelegates, which the Republicans don't have, which is like the people within the Democratic Party who then get to vote who's the actual nominee. Like, they're the ones who actually said it. Like, it's basically electoral college, but for just the Democratic Party. And that's how Bernie Sanders got screwed over the first time and kind of this time. And, like, I mean, the emails came out saying that the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, I believe, like the chair, the emails came out of them plotting against Bernie, like, through the superdelegates and shit like that. So it's like, that's, again, to the point of, I don't feel like any of this cycle is actually set up for us, like, to actually gain.
Wow.
And maybe it was initially, but the world has changed from what the rules of, the presidency were when it was set up.
Yeah, when Lincoln was around.
Right. And I'm not even thinking that it needs to be changed, like the actual structure, framework of the presidency necessarily, but everything we've done around it, I think in our modern century, modern times, has been very destructive for it. And that sets the stage for people like Donald Trump to come through and abuse it, which I think he has done. But also through his abuse, I think it's shown a lot of problems, which for that, I don't know if I'm grateful, but at least there is problems being shown that maybe we could do things about tangibly on the ground level. But he only exists because that platform exists, because that framework exists, right? Like, why isn't there... I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but some mandatory requirement for political office, right? Or some type of experience. Not even that you have to hold the office, but like you have some type of experience politically, right? Like, or maybe politically is not even the right word, because we're talking about how this system is set up and it's weird, but I think some sort of... Damn, I'm running in circles with myself right here, because I was going to say some sort of leadership or governance, but Trump did that. I mean, he runs hella fucking businesses. That is leadership. in a sense.
The counter to that is that he was bankrupt, like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but that one's tricky because it sounds like, I know how it sounds on the face, but that's like a business tactic to file for bankruptcy and claim and shit. So it's like that could be also considered, in the business realm, good leadership. It depends. I don't know the intricacies.
It doesn't sound good to do with a country.
No, that's
or to get to
don't make the country
get
bankrupt.
to that point, not even financially, but just to a different.
So then maybe that's it. Public office. Maybe there needs to be some type of public office that needs to be some type of requirement. I think so, dude, because it's just you need to know how the system is set up, because you have to operate within it, at least to some extent. Trump still has to operate within the system of presidency, even if he does what he does with it. So it's like, I think you should be familiar with that. I think that would just overall help enrich everybody. Trying to think. Any other takeaways from the VP debate? No. I mentioned to you inside that fucking Pence looks like a vampire, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That guy looks like a vacuum sealed bag turned human. It's nuts, dude. It is nuts. Twitter went on fire because there was some fly or something that was on his head. I don't really give a shit about that for some of the... I didn't notice, but that was like... Twitter was in a rage. But I saw something... Oh, God. I saw it this morning and someone said he looks like the bottom of a stingray. And that shit
really?
Killed me, bro.
That's crazy.
I like that.
I'd love to see the side by side. Yeah,
that's original. Yeah, me too. And that shit just made me laugh. But yeah, whatever. They both did what they were supposed to do, which was make their parties and themselves look better to their bases and like their bases of support. And it's funny because I was just, you listen to shit afterwards. There was plenty of analytics where people were saying, yeah, part of the motives where they were coming in to look presidential in case their president is done. No, but it's like dies because they're fucking old, dude. There was one point where the moderator said, one of you two will be setting history at the presidential election, serving as the vice president to the oldest president in history. And that hit, I was like, fuck. That's depressing, dude. That's depressing. Well, I don't know why we just keep getting progressively older.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
And what did they say? Either of them say?
Oh, well, I mean, that was like just the first part of the question, and then it led into something else. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
yeah,
I think it led into like presidential health records or whatever, or whether it should be shown or something like that, which I do think they should be. Like, we should know the health of our president.
Stop.
Huh?
Yeah, we gotta stop.
Then I'm gonna piss.
Just flip the camera.